Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, July 31st to Saturday, August 6th. So last week, we wrapped up the very last full week of July. We had a lot of tests, a lot of intensities when it came to the lesson of 7. 7, of course, represents relationship, partnerships, how we share ourselves with the people and the world around us, and where it is that we have to do a little bit more of a balancing act within ourselves and within our personal relationships to make the energy exchange a little bit more fair, a little bit more balanced. Of course, we have the full moon in Leo. If you're listening to me Friday evening in the live chat, I want to thank you so much for being here. I also want to let you know that we're still very much in this new moon Leo energy. Here's the thing though, many of us suffering from a lunar hangover here today. Lunar hangovers are a real thing. It definitely feels a lot heavier, a lot more blah than it did on the day that the new moon in Leo peaked. And of course, we had Jupiter go retrograde just hours after that new moon in Leo peaked, which kind of, although is a heavy hitting planet and a little bit more subtle of an energy, I'm pretty sure you would agree to say that we're a little bit more within ourselves. We're a little bit more introverted here today. And with Jupiter being the planet of growth and expansion and magnifying whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling, now retrograde, we're doing a little bit of inner reflection. Those major heavy hitting planets, all except for Uranus at this point, is retrograde, which means that we have a lot of inner realm work to do before we go ahead and start exerting our energy outward again. This week, we have August. August is bringing us a brand new life lesson, a lesson in 8. So what do we know about the number 8? Well, first of all, it's the infinity sign. It is where energy just transfers. It does not die. It does not end. We just move from one situation and transition into the other. In astrology, the number 8 rules over the house that Scorpio rules over. And seeing as we are currently in the true node axis of this Taurus and Scorpio lesson, we will definitely be feeling this a little bit more. Now, what does that mean? First of all, Scorpio is about death, rebirth, resurrection, renewal. This is about transformation in recognizing what needs to end, what needs to die, what needs to close in order for new things to become alive, to come full circle, to begin to initiate. Now, this has a lot to do with our passions and with our dreams, with our desires. That Scorpio energy likes to do the shadow work in order to do a deep dive in the psyche, in the heart space, to get down to the nitty gritty of what is true and what is real. Desire is the name of the game with the Scorpio energy. And because we are in Leo season, aligning with our heart space, with what is true, with what we're truly happy and passionate about, we are definitely going to be majorly focused on jumping some timelines, aligning with a timeline that brings more happiness and joy and pleasure into our realms. For many of us, that means that we have to put an ending to some patterns, behaviors, habits, relationships that have been truly blocking us and holding us back, have been putting us in a position to create those guards, those walls up around our heart space. And because we are approaching the Lionsgate portal on 8/8, when we essentially do receive enough light codes to make a change in timeline, to really alter our soul contracts, you best believe that August is going to be a huge realization on what needs to end in order for new things to begin. So the lesson of 8 is going to be all August long. Now, just keep in mind that we come in August with the Leo energy, but we will be switching into Virgo energy. Virgo energy is an earth energy. It brings us back down to earth. It takes the big dreams, the big visions, the big feelings that come into our realization through Leo season. And now we get to work with them. We get to reorganize ourselves, restructure ourselves, really focus in on the details, break that big plan down into small, manageable pieces in order for us to actually be able to work with it. We also have to keep in mind that August is kind of bringing it in with all kinds of passion, all kinds of fire, because we do have this Uranus and True Node conjunction. This is a one-off. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. It will be direct in a very potent aspect throughout this week. We are becoming smaller and smaller in orb in order for this to be a direct, potent energy. This is a one-off. This is sudden shift, sudden change in order to align us with our soul's path, our soul's destiny. We do have Mars in the mix as well, really bumping up our power, our physical energy, our inspiration, motivation to make things happen. Of course, over the next couple of days, you will see that I put out the August energy forecast, giving you a total rundown on what it is that we can expect for the month. And of course, we will be jumping into each astro event as they come up. The very first astro event that we actually have taking place in August is Mercury moving out of Leo, where thoughts and ideas and communication has been big, has been dramatic, has been grand. And we are moving into Mercury's second home, second place of power in Virgo energy. Virgo energy, again, is an earth energy ruled over by Mercury in air energy. This is a time when we get to take all those plans, all those thoughts, all those ideas that have been bouncing around in our headspace. We actually get to get organized. We get to create order out of the mental chaos. We get to really take a good look at what's been going on in our mental plane, and we're able to do something with it. It's an earth energy. We get to manifest. We get to rearrange our physical circumstances. We get to analyze the details, strategize our next step. It is definitely going to be a very positive experience for the mental plane. And of course, we are building towards our first quarter moon, which happens to be in Scorpio. So here we are in August, the 8th month, ruling over lessons of 8 attached to Scorpio energy. We have the true nodes on this Taurus and Scorpio energy. And of course, when the moon is running through Scorpio, we are reminded on what it is that we have to let go of, surrender to, put a death to, in order to have the space to create new elements in our lives, new worth, new value, new relationships, new resources, new money matters. Of course, all the very, very strong Taurus topics and themes. And because the North Node is in Taurus and the South Node is in Scorpio, the South Node is what we have to let go of in order to have the space to create and embody the new elements that is in our soul's path, in our soul's destiny, that the North Node in Taurus is representing for us. So this first quarter moon is the very first lunar phase that we have since the new moon in Leo. The first quarter moon always brings us a little bit of urgency, a little bit of a crisis point. It pressurizes us to take action, make a decision, especially based off of some of the intentions that we would have set for ourselves or been focused on under the new moon in Leo. The Scorpio energy, anytime the moon is in the Scorpio energy, everybody kind of loses their mind because it's very deep and dark and probing. Scorpio energy is about transformation, especially in the psyche, in order to alter our perspective and understanding of things gone by and situations we're currently in so that we can reorganize our emotions, right? When you change your thoughts, you change your emotions. When your thoughts and your emotions are on the same page, you can engage your physical body to take action and strategize, moving forward, making decisions and choices that are now going to align with your new perspective, your new understanding. So we expect this first quarter moon in Scorpio not only to be super transformative because we are taking action, we are making a move, we are kind of making a decision to take a step forward, but of course there's a lot of energy going on in our inner realm, still building towards that Lionsgate portal. And this weekend in particular, we have a huge amount of meteor showers. There's going to be a lot of shooting stars out there. So if the skies are clear where you're at, take a look on up and find yourself a shooting star. Make a couple of wishes. This is a great time to do so, to visualize the high vibe reality that you want to be living in, the kind of circumstances and situations that you want to be experiencing as we go through this very important and potent energetic portal. So we got a lot going on. That's the common theme since the Great Awakening happened. Every week, although is a very different week, is a very transformative week because we have light codes coming in. We have higher intelligence bodies really spitting to us brand new messages on where it is that we have to be. And as we approach this Lionsgate portal, we really are going to be seeing, thinking, and feeling in two very different realities. Why? Because this is an opportunity for us, for our higher selves, our spirit, to figure out whether the path, the course that we're currently walking is one that we should stick to, or whether we need to jump timelines altogether. Many of us feeling very, very insecure, very lonely, very isolated at this time. We are very much feeling like there is something big right around the corner, anticipating that change, even though it's kind of scary not knowing what that is, and just kind of find comfort and validation in the fact that this is our higher self, our soul selves, recognizing that we are moving through a very transformative time. That might not make sense to your ego self. It might not, totally I'm going to say bring itself into fruition for a total understanding anytime soon, but our higher selves know what's going on, even if our lower selves do not. So just trust that we're in the right alignment, we're in the right energy, and we will be seeing things shift very dramatically as we move through this very first week of August. So before I jump into the Ascension symptoms, I am going to take just a couple of minutes to cover a couple of homework items. First of all, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me in the chat. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting. I want to thank you for those of you who've reached out and shown your love in a monetary sense. I want to thank you for doing that as well. The love is very strong here in this community. I want to thank you for your continued love and support. And I just want to thank you for spending your time and your energy with me. That is the most valuable currency as far as I'm concerned, is time and attention. Because what we spend our time on is what we're pouring our attention into. And our attention is the currency of the energetic realm. So I want to thank you so much for deciding to spend your energy, your time with me here tonight. So I have a little bit of a fun announcement. I don't know if y'all seen it because, again, this freaking YouTube algorithm has just not been my friend lately. But I created a new playlist that I intend to expand upon. It's a brand new series called What the FAQ, okay? FAQ, so I don't get in any trouble here. But there's always a lot of frequently asked questions. And as you may have known, I have been talking about, doing a private podcast and doing a different series and, blah, 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 blah. And you may have noticed that nothing has come out of that. Many of you know I am a procrastinator, a very high skilled, intelligent procrastinator. And because I get super overwhelmed with so many choices, so many decisions, so much information, not knowing when to start, this is my excuse for not being as productive as I was hoping to be with bringing you guys some informational content. So what I've decided to do is I created this playlist that I'm going to need you to go and subscribe to. That way you get a notification every single time I add a video to that playlist. Now, the very first video that I put out was a little bit of a tour, a little bit of a tutorial, if you will, to the energy guide on my website. That energy guide is a dashboard with all the astro events. So when you're feeling a little bit cray-cray, when you're feeling all over the place, you can just, log in. It's free. See what's going on in the cosmos. Get some comfort and validation for your current experience, and you're not going to miss a beat. You're not going to miss a dime. Of course, for those that were interested, I did go into the whole moon guide subscription as well. The whole tutorial's there. I think it's about 8 minutes. It was my very first experimentation on how I'm going to start providing some visual aids to y'all instead of just, flashing some text on the screen that many of you have very much gotten used to. I do want to start creating some informational videos. So here's what I'm asking of you. First, please be subscribed to this channel. For those of you not getting notifications, please go ahead, unsubscribe if you are subscribed, and then resubscribed and hit that bell for all notifications. But even more than that, I looked at my stats, and because this is a new playlist, a new series with new words in it, the algorithm effing hates me. And therefore, just a fraction of people were even able to see that I posted a video that belongs to a brand new but very different playlist. So if you go into my channel, you go into the playlists, you can actually subscribe to the individual playlist for the week, for the month. But in this case, we're talking about the new series, What the Fact, okay? And on that series, on each video, please, please, please feel free to ask questions on content that you would like for me to concentrate on creating, okay? This is going to help me whittle down, where I need to start, because sometimes I get so overwhelmed on where to start with, bringing the kind of information to the forefront that needs to be heard, that I get so overwhelmed, I put myself in a state of paralysis. And that's why you don't see anything from me other than these, normal, very routine ascension symptom forecasts and daily energy forecasts on top of the monthly astro forecasts. So this is a new thing. Hopefully I will be able to, with your guys' love and support and, providing me with little content cues, if you will, on what it is that you want to learn about, what it is you want to hear about. As of this time, I'm going to try to put everything on YouTube until YouTube shuts me down. Then I'll have to consider moving to a private podcast. The reason why I don't want to go to a private podcast is because I don't want to have to charge all y'all for information. I feel really bad about that. I'm not really in this whole game of trying to capitalize on, gatekeeping information. So we're going to try to do this YouTube thing as fully as I possibly can until I have reason not to. So go ahead, find that playlist, subscribe to the playlist so that you don't miss a beat. Take a look at the energy guide tutorial if you haven't already. Drop me a comment in that video down below. Ask a question or give me some kind of hint or clue on what it is that you want me to talk about, what it is that you want me to create videos and content on. So thank you for listening to that blurb. Now, we are moving into August. It is a brand new month. This is the last time I'm going to plug my services, I promise. Please, if you're considering doing the deep dive work in your healing journey in the shadow realm of, really kind of cracking down on what's going on in your unconscious self, please consider subscribing to the moon guide so that you can align with each moon phase, so that you can use each moon phase to manifest or release the kind of emotions that are coming up for acknowledgement. Please track the lunar phase. Please download all of the moon guides that are offered to you in that subscription. Please understand that I've made this as affordable as possible for your benefit, not for mine. I'm really hoping to get the whole collective awake and enlightened and involved in their own healing journey. And the moon guide, the whole moon subscription, has been designed in order to help you do the deep dive within your own emotions, within your own unconscious self. So again, we come into the month. I'm going to have to just throw it out there that this would be a good time for you to subscribe to that. If you are interested in downloading the energy calendar for August, please go ahead and do that as well, with all the astro events noted on the calendar for your I'm going to say preparation for your heads up so that you can understand maybe how to plan your month a little bit better, knowing where the energy is going to be most potent, where you're likely not going to feel the greatest. And of course, when we have an overview on what we can expect for the month ahead, it just means that we are able to prepare and align accordingly. So yeah, go ahead, download the August calendar and get to scheduling your month appropriately. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's talk about some Ascension symptoms. So I briefly touched on this in the intro about how many of us are experiencing a lunar hangover. This is a real thing, guys. Like, many people always kind of question how they can feel really good either the day before a moon event or on the moon event, and then the day following feeling really, really good, and following that high, we're feeling like crap. We're feeling like a low. And the energy gets so potent, especially in certain signs with certain aspects supporting it. If you downloaded the moon guide for the new moon in Leo, you would know that Jupiter had a huge part in it, as well as Mars. That's a lot of very intense energy. Jupiter, of course, magnifying everything, adding a little bit of drama, adding a little bit of spice to everything, went retrograde just hours after the new moon peaked. So we have a little bit of a shift going on internally. Many of us feeling that dizziness, that stomach sickness because of it. But a lunar hangover is exactly what it sounds. Just visualize yourself being out partying one night, being on top of the world. You have big ideas. You're making big plans for yourself. You literally just feel effing amazing. And then what happens the next day? You feel like crap. You're coming down. Suddenly those good ideas, they aren't as good anymore. Suddenly we have regrets. Suddenly our head is hurting. Our bodies are aching. Our stomachs are upset. We are literally detoxing the alcohol, the poison from our bodies, if you will. Or if you're into other substances, you know what coming down off of that feels like as well. And this is very much the same. So, we talk about the Ascension symptoms, like the Ascension flu. When the energy gets high, we tend to have flu-like symptoms. Well, when we have a moon event, this is very much the hangover symptoms that we have, following a very high vibe, energy, potent event, which the new moon in Leo definitely was. Many, many people had a rough couple of days as we approached that new moon in Leo, though very dark. And as I continue to say, we have to expect the days before a new moon, in particular, a dark moon, because we're in the dark phase of the moon, we have to expect that those days before a, brand new moon phase takes place have to be dark. They have to be heavy. They have to be emotionally torturous in a way, because that's what illuminates us to what needs to change. That gives us the framework on what it is that we have to be focused on creating under the new moon energy. So I really don't know why people are surprised that they feel like crap as we approach a new moon event. I also don't understand why people don't understand that the energy has physical effects on us. And it is very rare, especially these days in the Grand Awakening, to have 2 days back to back that we're feeling amazing. It does not happen. Especially in this Leo energy, everything is big, everything is grand, everything is over exaggerated. And when we're feeling good, we're really feeling good. We are in that extreme, but we can't stay there. And so the crash hurts. It feels awful. And many of us will continue to feel this lunar hangover until about Sunday. So Sunday is going to be an interesting day because, of course, that Uranus and True Node conjunction keeps getting closer and closer to a direct aspect. And again, may I remind you that Uranian energy has a huge effect on our central nervous system. We're feeling edgy. We're feeling restlessness. We're feeling anticipation. We're feeling anxiety. We're literally feeling the shock to our system. Why? Because Uranian energy wakes us up. It zaps us. It prepares us for a sudden shift, a sudden change in our physical realms. This is a very high electricity event, especially affecting our crown chakra, our head. And because of that, we are going to be feeling the head pressure. We're also going to be feeling the dizziness, the spinning, if you will. So I just want to kind of allude you to the fact that we have to expect that there's high levels of anxiety, that we have to feel wired in a certain way, maybe wired in our inner realm with no physical energy to do anything in our outer realm. That is how the energy manifests. I do want you to pay attention this week to electricity around you as well. So maybe you're getting shocks. Maybe you're hearing electricity. I know that sometimes when we go through portals and the vibration and frequency is super high, I can't hear anything but the electricity buzzing. For those of you that don't know, I live out in the middle of nowheres, in the middle of the woods. I have very limited electricity going on around me, but let me tell you, the hum of the fridge or the TV buzzing when it's on, or whatever the case may be, I can hear electricity. And there's going to be a high level of electricity in our cosmos coming in because, of course, we are approaching the Lionsgate portal. That is when we align with the Sirius constellation, that star system, if you will. And they're sending huge amount of light codes into our cosmos to basically shift the paradigm that we're currently in. That's why we have the opportunity to jump timelines. That's why we have the opportunity to kind of renegotiate our soul contracts. There literally is a split taking place. We all know of the split taking place between the 3D realm and the 5D realm. We can see that very clearly amongst our relationships, amongst our, divide amongst people. There are literally two different earths happening simultaneously right now. One of low vibe of fear and pain and suffering that those people will continue to live in, delirious to what's even going on in the world. And then, of course, there are the awakened ones creating new earth each and every single day. That is the 5D vibration consciousness of love, connection, and unity, where we are not living in those same fear-based, painful narratives that the other earth is currently living in. But even more than that, time is splitting. Many of you should likely realize by now that time isn't the same kind of measurement that we were used to. Time is either going super freaking fast or super slow. The other day, it literally took like 2 hours for 7 minutes to pass, and I was beside myself. I did not understand how it was even possible, because I wasn't just exaggerating. I wasn't being whiny. I wasn't being complaining. I got so much done in that 7 minutes, but it literally took 2 hours for that 7 minutes to pass. And I find each and every single day, the time is getting wonkier. The sun coming up is wonkier. The fake sun, mind you. The moon, the fake moon, mind you, is wonkier in its position in the sky, in the timing in which we see it. I noticed over the past week especially that there were multiple days where the sun and the moon were visible in the sky at the same time, which science tells us that technically shouldn't happen, which just makes me question the validity of, our sun and moon, which honestly, I've told you before, I think are fake. But anyways, timing is very strange. And because we are about to go through this portal where we are jumping timelines, not only is time very strange, but space, gravity is super strange. I mean, many of us are very familiar with our environments. Many of us should be able to walk around our houses with our eyes closed and not bump into too much because, we're familiar with that. However, especially over this last week, I've noticed that the space is off. Gravity is off. I've dropped more things in the past week than I think I have in the past 5 years. And I'm not a klutz. I'm not being accidental. I'm paying attention, but it seems like the weight of some of the objects are off. It seems like when I go to grab something, the space of the matter is off. The time that it takes for me to get from one side of my place to the other is off. And I have to contribute this as the matrix splitting, as the 3D and 5D continue to split. And as we go through this portal and we get to kind of split ourselves into two different directions, two different timelines, two different soul contracts, I have to contribute this overall funky weirdness with the time, space, gravity continuum to this particular portal change. So drop me a comment. Let me know if you resonate with that at all, if that's been going on for you. I feel like, the split in within our realities is also a reflection of the split within ourselves. And, there are multiple versions of you living different timelines out there already. But in this particular timeline, it feels like we are dividing ourselves time and time again. Our heart and our head don't really agree. Old self versus new self don't really agree. The choice points, the decisions don't really agree. It literally feels like we're being torn in two different directions. And many of that, or much of that, I should say, is due to the energy healing work that many of us have been doing. We are getting rid of the lower vibrations and frequencies stuck in the 3D cellular form of our physical bodies, and we are embodying the new energetic light codes that are having a huge effect on our physical bodies as well. So we are essentially feeling inside of us our atoms splitting, our soul splitting, our heart splitting, our head splitting, our passions, our desires splitting, our lower self versus higher self splitting. We are preparing to move into a brand new shift, a brand new transformation, a brand new paradigm, especially in August. And this is the very beginning stages of feeling like we're literally being torn apart. I want you to pay attention this week to the matrix threads. Now, we talked about this before. It only happens every now and then when the vibrations and the frequencies get super, super potent. But you can literally see what looks like a spider's web, if you will, in our physical realms that have a shimmery effect to them. This is literally the grid, the binary code of the simulation in which we are currently living in that becomes more visible to us when we expand the vibrations and frequencies that we're able to hold in our physical body. You hear me talk about this many, many times in the past about how our physical eyes are only able to perceive a very small portion of the light spectrum. We are humans, okay? Hue, all colors of the rainbow. We get to see a whole spectrum of light in our light bodies that our physical eyes aren't used to here in this physical realm. But the more healing we do, the higher vibrations and frequencies that we embody, the more change to this 3D physical matrix that continues to happen as we collapse old paradigms and embody new ones. The matrix, the binary code, the simulation threads are actually able to be visibly seen by our physical eyes. And again, it kind of looks like shiny little spider webs coming down from the sky or over certain areas of the physical reality that you notice them in. This is more than just seeing orbs. This is more than just seeing sparkly lights. This is actually seeing the threads of the matrix of the simulation that has constructed this 3D matrix that many of us are now breaking out of. So pay attention to that. I feel like many of us, especially as we get closer to the 8/8 portal, are going to be constantly in this state of the elevator feeling. You know what I mean when I say the elevator feeling? You're in an elevator feeling and it's like you can feel your energy body separate from your physical body as that elevator is going up and down. And then, when that elevator comes to a standstill, we have that remeshing, if you will, of that energetic body to that physical body. And that's why we feel disoriented when those elevator doors open. I feel like we will be having a lot of that, a lot of very euphoric type of feelings over this next week. And speaking of euphoria, any of y'all just feel like you're walking around in a dream, the light and fluffy deja vu type of state? The am I dreaming? Is this real? Where the hell am I? When am I going to wake up type of feeling? Not to mention our dream states at night have been super freaking deep and cryptic. Again, Neptune, ruler of dreams, is retrograde in Pisces. And now we have Chiron retrograde as well, the wounded healer, giving us some very deep cryptic energies, some very deep symbolism in our dream state for us to kind of awake with so that we can bring those unconscious situations, topics, and themes into our conscious awareness so we can do something with it. Our dream state is just wonky as F. And honestly, our day state is wonky as F, feeling like we're walking through said dream. Many of us have sleep schedules that are just off. Now, I know I have a puppy. I know that I'm, in puppy mode, waking up multiple times throughout the night in order to make sure that, he's going out and he's not doing his business in my house. But at the same time, There is physical circumstances that always seem to pop up in our lives to justify or quote unquote make excuses for the actual distortion in our sleep patterns. When the energy is high, when it's potent, when we see it popping off on the Schumann Resonance, we know that sleep patterns will be disrupted. Now, many of us operating on way less amounts of sleep than normal, but yet not really feeling the physical repercussions of that. Many times, like I think there was one night I had I think it was like 2 hours of sleep because, surprise, surprise, my puppy is a very sensitive dude. Not only when the barometric pressure pops off, when a storm system is rolling in, does that keep him awake and crying all night, but when the Schumann resonance pops off, this little dude does not settle. Just when I thought I was the purest barometric and energetic measurement tool out there, God in the universe graces me with a little light being in a puppy suit who is far more sensitive than I could have ever imagined myself being. So there have been many nights that I've only been getting like an hour, 2 hours sleep. And you know what? One would think that you would walk around the next day just feeling like absolute crap. And surprisingly enough, I don't feel bad. I actually feel quite good. Don't know if this is mania setting in or what the case may be, but I am not complaining. Anyways, my point is that there are sleep disruptions due to the energy, due to your physical body recalibrating, due to the dream state popping off sometimes. And I don't want to go on a too much of a tangent and a rant here, but just keep in mind that when we sleep, we actually visit other realms, and many of us are warriors in other realms. It's like why we wake up exhausted even after a 12-hour sleep. And the astral realm is going through a metamorphosis, a transformation, just as we are going through a transformational state here on the 3D realm as well. And a lot of the sleep disturbances, especially for those that aren't getting enough sleep, that are borderline insomnia at this point, is because your presence is not needed in the astral realm. And for whatever state, and from what I understand, there's major pop-offs in the spiritual battle, the spiritual war going on in other realms. It's almost as if our ancestors, our spirit guides, those that are keeping us safe and protected, are literally keeping us awake here in this physical realm so that we don't enter into the astral realm at that time. For whatever the reasoning, whether it be timing or just the battle doesn't need us at whatever time, this is why many, many, many of us are more and more awake. Now, there is a group of people out there saying, you know what? I don't have that problem. I can't get enough sleep. I am exhausted. I could sleep all day. Well, just understand that if you're in that category, it's because your physical body needs you to stay still, because you're not providing yourself with enough stillness, enough rest in your daily life for the new light codes to actually come into your body and recalibrate within your new system. This is a realignment time. We are in Leo season. The alignment with our highest self, our true self, our heart and soul has never been more strong. But of course, we're in midsummer. Everybody wants to party and have a good time and, put a bunch of alcohol in their body, allowing lower vibrational spirits to totally take over themselves. And for the most part, sleep is needed for those that cannot regulate their energy throughout the day. So there is a divide in that sleep state as well. Also, there is a lot of this residual. So many of us know that sleep is an essential part of being happy, healthy, balanced, and, peaceful within ourselves. Now, again, even if you're running low on sleep, it doesn't feel like we're running low on sleep. But what I will say is our physical bodies are giving us signs and indications of that sleep deprivation by our cravings changing. Even you hear me talk about diet all the time, keeping it clean, keeping your temple clean, keeping everything of life force energies. Let me just tell you, we all fall off the wagon. I myself had huge sugar cravings and junk food cravings this past week. And we will expect that, especially going through this first week of August as well. What we need to know is that when our physical body is asking for said things, especially outside of our normal realm realm of cravings, because I don't eat junk food. I keep it pretty clean. For me to be going through this is an indication to me that I need more grounding, that my light body is going through such a transformation, such a recalibration, such a realignment, that my physical body is feeling the repercussions of that. And so my physical body is looking for things to weigh us down, to make us feel like crap, to make us feel heavier and weighted to this earth plane and to our physical bodies, because our light bodies are so freaking high above us that we just need something to kind of bring ourselves down. And it doesn't feel good. Now, yeah, spoiler alert, I did go out. I did give into my cravings. I put a whole bunch of crap into my body that I haven't eaten in a long time, and I suffered the consequences for it. And many of us feeling that bloat, those bowel issues, those bladder issues. I know for me, acid reflux is becoming a thing again. That's because our solar plexus chakra is going through a huge overhaul. That is right below your ribs, right where your gallbladder and all the digestive juices come out of. And when we're going through a realignment, such as we are right now, we have to expect that our inner organs are popping off. They're swelling up. They're bloating a little bit more. They're dysfunctional. And because of that, we may see acid reflux, bloating, bowel issues, gas at an all-time high. With that being said, I want you to pay attention to your lymph nodes. I do expect our lymph nodes to swell out, especially in the throat and underneath the armpits as we get closer to this 8-8 portal. Mostly we are just kind of uncomfortable in our physical bodies, but the lymph nodes, keep in mind, the lymph node's job in your physical body is to channel all the toxins and all the crud through your lymph system in order to get it to your kidneys and to your liver and to, get it through that detox process so that you can eliminate said toxins. And because we are going through a recalibration, because we are receiving huge light codes, our systems are a little bit slower in that detox process. We do have to keep the water to us. We do have to keep light force energy foods to us to try and keep that process going. But the lymph nodes do swell up when the system is slower and sluggish more than usual. And we really do have to understand that because we are going through this transformative process, because we are splitting in two, basically, because we are in a realignment and recalibration state right now, we are going to see the repercussions of our physical body system kind of slow up a bit, kind of show where we're having problems. Again, look on YouTube. There are some great lymph node massage tutorials out there to try and get our systems flowing. Movement is a huge thing. Many of us are exhausted and are very stagnant right now, feeling just, needing to ground, curling up in a ball, eating all the junk food, not really moving our bodies. That is a recipe for disaster. So as much as we may not feel like we want to move our bodies, it is very important that we continue to do so. What else do I want to talk about? Well, I guess let's go to the head space. Now, we talked about the lunar hangover. We talked about the Ascension flu, how it sometimes mimics, actual flu-like symptoms. We are going to be continuing with the sinus pressure, but sinus pressure due to dryness, but yet still having a lot of phlegm, a lot of snot, a lot of runny nose symptoms come out. May feel like you have a cold. It may feel like your allergies are kind of popping up and popping off. Go ahead, take the remedies that you feel comfortable in taking in order to address your physical symptoms, but don't be surprised when it doesn't really take a whole lot more than just the edge off. A lot of this, again, is because the energy that we're into right now, our sinus pressure is third eye, reaching a new level of awareness, seeing through the physical form. And especially if you're able to see the matrix threads, that means that your third eye just reached a brand new level of perception. And, we have to expect that there is a lot of pressure in our sinuses because of that. I also want to talk about itchiness, maybe sore, but more so itchiness in our throat. Even though we are, drinking lots of water and clearing our throat, we have to keep in mind that Mercury is still in Leo. We have a lot to say. We want to get a lot out of our chest space, out of our head space, out into the real world. We are manifesting at a very high, rapid and accelerated time space right now. And you know what? We do have to continue to use that throat chakra as efficiently as possible. And because of that, we are feeling the physical symptoms in this throat space. Even more than that, lips are chapped. We're getting canker sores or split lips. A lot of this is due to the dryness that's going on as well. But a lot of this as well is because we are being encouraged to speak on things that are very uncomfortable. That Leo energy is about having the raw, vulnerable, heart-to-heart conversations that we need to have. And that's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. Keep in mind that Venus is in Cancer as well. So we're very indecisive. We're very protective and defensive of our emotions. Many of us feeling the disconnect and the detachment, the loneliness, if you will, in our relationships due to that. And because we are at the very end of a cycle and, jumping into brand new timelines for many of us, that loneliness can feel way more lonely than normal. We're yearning for connection. We're yearning for our people, for our soul family. We're yearning for change. We're yearning for peace. And because we are in this state of wanting more for ourselves, it does highlight the state that we're currently in, which is lacking a lot of the things that we are wanting. And that can just kind of put us a little bit in a Debbie Downer spiral, if you will. So definitely make sure that you're keeping a conscious awareness of those particular emotions arising in you. And you know what? We just have to kind of ride the wave. I can tell you that, Venus will be moving out of Cancer here very shortly and will be moving into Leo, which will bring a huge heart healing situation to a lot of the emotions that we're currently feeling, which is not good. We're lacking intimacy. We're lacking connection. We're lacking like-minded people. We're definitely feeling alone and isolated in the world. Once Venus moves into Leo, all of that is going to change very quickly, very rapidly, and our hearts will be full once again. There is a huge healing that comes after, we go through this little bit of a dark period. So it's not going to stay forever. And that's why I really encourage people not to make huge decisions when we're feeling in a funk like this, because it's very short-lived. It's very temporary. We will be seeing the shift. We will be seeing the change here very, very soon. So in that headspace, I want to talk about a moving headache, what I like to call a moving headache. So we have a lot of pressure going on in our head. That is, normal for the amount of information coming in from the cosmos. We're receiving that information in our crown. We also have the third eye opening up to a brand new level of visibility. But it's like, it feels like it's on a verge of a headache, but it's not really in one area of your head. And then, we might have a pressure point or a tension point in one side of our head in the morning. And then it almost feels like a worm moving in your skull, moving from one side of your head to the other. And it's not so much a headache as it is just a pressure point or a tension point. But I suspect that this is likely going to intensify the closer that we get to the 8-8 portal. Just keep in mind that that's information coming in. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a remedy here. Anytime that the information, the pressure is too much in your head, put on a hat, put on a toque, put up your hood. Try to keep it black in color if you can. That veils our crown. It slows down the amount of information that we're able to bring in. And sometimes that's all we need in order to lessen the pressure and intensity in our physical head. So, there's a lot of really good things that we can do to try to ease off some of these energy and ascension symptoms. But especially as we're going through this week and the crown will be more activated than not, definitely have a hat handy, have a scarf handy, have a hood handy. And again, black in color. Black grounds us out. It protects us. It slows things down. It filters things. We just want to do what we can in order to protect our physical body. I want you to pay attention to, I'm going to talk about two things, and then I'm going to talk, maybe three things, and then I'm going to talk about something that is not pleasant. what I want to talk about is the change. Well, we kind of talked in the change of food, the change of cravings, but a lot has to do with our taste buds changing. And, the sensory system that we got going on in our physical bodies, they're being recalibrated and realigned with our energetic bodies going through this recalibration and realignment as well. And therefore, our taste buds are changing. The film in our mouth is changing. Our teeth aren't maybe not wearing fuzzy sweaters like they were last week, but they feel different. Your teeth, your mouth, your tongue should feel different. The cravings, the food that you're putting in should taste different. And all of that is kind of contributing to this next one, which I want to talk about, which is more of a caution than anything else, of choking on your food or spit, or if you're very special like me, just air. Okay. We're choking. There is a disconnect of our system processes recalibrating. And again, I'm going to give you another analogy because it's what I do. If you're talking about a car engine, right, and one of the spark plugs are off, that means that the whole timing of the engine is off, which means it's not running efficiently. And when you change said spark plugs and they're all running at their optimal best, it does take a little bit of time for the process of the engine to get in timing again. That's what we're going through right now. And this whole choking on your food or choking on air or choking on spit is a recalibration of that particular bodily system that's going through a realignment, an upgrade, a recalibration at best. I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to pay attention to your eyes and the way that you're able to actually focus in on something. Because again, our eyes are an input of information, but the information that we're bringing in is happening so fast in our mental plane that we don't even realize that we're bringing it in. I want you to pay attention to your eyes because your eyes is a sensory system also going through recalibration series, a reprocessing, if you will, but it may feel like you have very blurry eyes, like you got something in your eye, like you're constantly trying to blink to clear your eyes up, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. This is, again, another contributing validation factor that our eyes, our sensory system, the way that we bring information in is changing. And again, if you are able to be seeing, those matrix threads, those light orbs, whatever the case may be, that suggests that your eyes are refocusing to a different series of the light spectrum. But with that change comes a little bit of fogginess, vagueness, blurriness, if you will, in trying to get a clear vision. Many of us, because we're in a situation where the path forward is not clear, this is a good indication, especially where your eyes are concerned, to pay attention to the condition of your eyes. If you're seeing blurriness, if you're not able to see as far distance as normal, it is because subconsciously our energetic body is having a hard time accepting our physical realm for the way that it is. We know that something is just around the corner. We know that something is about to shift, but we're lacking clarity. Therefore, we cannot see it clearly. And therefore, we have, these blurry visions, these foggy visions, this vagueness on being able to identify certain objects within a certain distance of our visibility. So the last thing that I want to talk about, which is not pleasant, but it needs to be talked about, there are a lot of deaths happening right now. You may see it in the news on the global stage. You may see it in your own physical realm. A lot of mysterious deaths that, on a 3D realm, we could, if we wanted to, we could contribute this to the Jabberwocky, but I want to give you even more of a, enlightened perspective on why many people are dying at this point. First of all, just remember that collectively speaking, we have all come in with a death date. We have all in different groups, especially, in certain situations where tragedy strikes, where weather patterns strike, where trauma strikes, where even Jabberwocky strike. Those that choose to depart this realm and return home to source is in a group or soul contract as a group in order to pass at the same time. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because every single time that we are gifted an opportunity to jump timelines, to basically go through a time portal where time and ourselves split, there's a lot of people, a lot of souls that have decided that this is the end of the road for them. And I'm not just talking about 80-year-olds that have lived a whole life. I'm talking about young people. I'm talking about accidents. I'm talking about swimming accidents. I'm talking about tragedies. Okay. There is a rhyme and reason for the timing of the departed every single time. Nobody dies on accident. Okay. I want you to understand that. Nobody dies on accident. It is a divinely scripted, agreed upon event by the departed. But I wanted to bring this up because a lot of people are feeling so low, feeling lonely, feeling isolated, feeling disconnected, feeling detached, and having these major, major deaths in the family, in the community, on the greater global, grander stage, and questioning why. And really allowing themselves to get down on the fact that so many people are departing in the way in which they are. Don't get down. This is part of the plan. Death, again, we're in the lesson of 8 here. Death is merely the ending of this video game and a returning home to source. Nothing really dies. Our physical body dies, but you know what? These are just meat suits anyways that are holding us back in life. That shouldn't be a sad thing. Now, one would say, well, I don't know, just lost a family member. And even though I know they're in a better place, it still hurts and I'm still grieving. Well, yeah, you should. That's part of the human experience. Okay. This is, death brings great life lessons that no other situation in life could bring. And the death around us, yeah, it's sad, especially under, tragic circumstances, super sad. But also, we have something to learn from it. Otherwise, those souls wouldn't have collectively agreed to a group departure. And I just feel that as we're kind of, being split apart, being torn apart, sitting in this isolation, sitting in this disconnection, sitting in this wonderment of what this is all about, that many people look around at all the sudden deaths as a bad thing, where I tend to look at it as a validation that we're on the right track and that this is a good thing. Look at how many people are choosing to leave the earth side to go back to source to fight the battles that they weren't able to fight here. We need certain amount of souls on the other side, just as we need certain amount of souls in this earth plane in order to fight the good fight that we've already won. So if you are somebody that is currently going through the death of a loved one or just sitting around and being very disturbed about the topic of death, first of all, my heart goes out to you. I send you nothing but love, but I really welcome you to understand death from a different perspective. This is a celebration of a job well done, of a contract completed. Right? I often talk about the fact that, I'm here to do a job. That's the only reason why I'm here. That's the only reason why they brought me back to life, to do a job, the job that I'm currently doing, which is trying to align the collective and raise the vibration and frequency of the collective in order to get to New Earth. That is my job. I cannot wait, and I mean this with all respect, with all niceness, I cannot wait to go back home. I cannot wait to go back to source. But I know that when it is my time, that the job will be done. The mission will be complete. So when I see people dying, regardless of how old they are or how they depart from this earth plane, I look at that and I say, congratulations on a job well done. Good for you. You get to go on vacation. You get to go home now. Good for you. And I invite you to try, even if your heart is hurting, to at least invite that perspective in, because it really does wonders for the soul. It does wonders for the process. It does wonders to opening up to a perspective that isn't as dark and dim as what we believe death to be from this 3D earth plane. So I know that wasn't pleasant. That's why I left it to the end. But I am going to just offer the fact that, guess what? Everything happens exactly as it should. Even if you are sitting in a funk, even if you are at your worst, this particular point is needed in your life to prepare you for the attitude of gratitude that you're about to have for all the blessings coming into your life. This is a time of change. This is a time of renewal. This is a time of resurrection. This is a time of rebirth. But in order for that to happen, a certain death has to happen. Either within the physical body in its entirety, within the mental plane, within habits, within relationships, within jobs, within circumstances. Something needs to die. We cannot continue to pray for change and not change anything in our lives. We cannot continue to do the same thing every single day and expect a different result. That is literally the terminology for insanity. We have an opportunity to jump timelines. I invite you to really spend a lot of time in your inner realm thinking and feeling on a reality which you would be happy to experience and live, and hold that vibration so freaking high. Hold that vision so strong so that when we go through this portal, you have all kinds of probability of your higher self, your soul self aligning to that vision that you are 100% willing to align to and willing to do the physical work needed in order to actually get there. That's how we win. That's how we evolve. That's how we jump. So let's all link energetic soul arms together and let's make this jump together. Again, we all are on different healing paths on the same journey to get to New Earth. Okay, so if you don't see a dramatic shift in your circumstances change after this portal, don't think that you failed. This isn't about good or bad or failure or, progression. This is about aligning to the path, to the vibration, to the frequency that your soul needs for its evolution to reach its highest potential. Everybody is at a different point of their evolution. Everybody needs different timelines, different life lessons in order for their soul to step into their strongest potential, to their purest form. But nonetheless, we can have the greatest of intentions. We are not alone. We are together in this. So let's link arms. Let's take a deep breath. Let's hold the highest vision possible, and let's jump. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to thank you so much for joining me, for spending your time, your energy, your presence with me. This community is so freaking strong, so freaking beautiful. I appreciate every single one of you. I want to thank you for the love. I want to thank you for the support. I want to thank you for not only showing up for yourself, but for showing up for me too. We are connected. We are all one. We will unify. We will see each other on the other side. I hope you have a great night, a great weekend, a great first week of August, and I hope we navigate this timeline jump as calmly, as easily, as efficiently as possible. I love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.